Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahabushai, Bahasham, Barakahak Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson, and I'm going to start it off in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Now, of course, you've got the spiritual demon Satan, which, contrary to popular belief, doesn't have free will and is actually the top left-handed angel of the Most High. And then you have his physical counterpart here on earth, Esau Edom, the so-called white man. And as it said, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. When you look at everything with the spiritual eye that this Edomite does, it's to come against the children of Israel, to keep them from coming back to their identity, and to damn sure keep, the words of the prophets from going out, because they know that when the prophets of Israel are out on the highways and byways preaching this word, that major things happen. And when the Israelites start calling back on their power and his name, hey, that's a wrap for whoever's ruling at the time. And all these things are happening as we speak. And as it says in Revelation 12, verse 12, for the devil shall come down in great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. These elites of the Edomites, such as the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Gettys, you name it, see the writing on the wall. So they're making major moves and making a final play at keeping those things from coming to pass, so that they can try to keep holding on to their rulership for a little bit longer. But, as it said, he knoweth that he hath but a short time. It's all going to be to no avail. But I opened up the video with this verse to preface a few bits of information to show that this war, behind the scenes, that the elites of these Edomites are waging to keep the truth of Yahweh Bahashem Yahabushai from going out. And the first bit of information I'll be going to is on Arrows of Indignation 144's YouTube channel, titled Listen Up, starting August 13th of 2025. The hopeful year of the deliverance of the elect and the destruction of Esau, Edom, and his system, starting on August 13th, 2025 on YouTube and Spotify. And August 13th is just a couple of days from now. But listen up closely. Major moves are being made on YouTube to censor free speech that much more. But like I opened up with that 2 Corinthians 2 verse 11, the main target is the men of the Lord, chiefly of GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers coming in the spirit of GMS, which at this point, if the spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahabushai is dealing with you, you can clearly see that they've laid their tabernacle on the men of the Great Millstone. But this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
So YouTube is now asking everybody to upload their driver's license to make sure that there's an age verification. Spotify is doing the same. Now, think about this for a second. They want you silenced. They just knock on your door. They don't even have to look you up. They already have all your information. They want to do it to protect the children. Like, share, and repost this.
And like this society and the powers that be give a good goddamn about the children out here. Epstein files, all these different children going missing, all this content that's put on YouTube that's, definitely not appropriate for the children. These cartoons out here, social media, everything is designed to pollute the children's minds, to make them just the next obedient citizens of the NWO that these elites are looking to make. So, like with everything, they use the children as a cover to push through their real agendas, which is more internet censorship, free speech censorship, and ultimately censoring the truth of the Lord from going out.
Many times as you can. Share with your friends. This is ridiculous. It's in the Constitution. We have the freedom of speech. I understand that there's a child video problem. Get rid of it. You guys haven't gotten rid of it yet. When are you going to start getting rid of it? The whole internet's supposedly full of it if you just look for it. But you want my driver's license? Come on. This is out of control. This is like the book 1984. This is crazy. What are you guys thinking? How are we going to stop this?
Starting August 13th, people in the US are going to have to submit their ID to watch YouTube. Mark my words, being anonymous online is coming to an end. In the near future, if you want to fully access the internet, you'll need to fully identify who you are behind the screen. It sounds dystopian now, but it's where we're headed.
Mark my words, we're about to watch our freedom of speech go down the drain. YouTube will now be asking you to upload your identification for age verification. So they're basically saying if the AI feels that you are younger than the appropriate age, they'll ask you to upload your identification. And they're going to do the same thing with Spotify, but then it's going to start to roll over to other apps. Right now in other countries, they're doing the same exact thing. But this is where it gets wicked, right? See, we've learned that when they tell you one thing, they're planning something else behind it. And imagine this.
Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And already, if they've got your IP address, they already know who you are. And I mean, brothers, clearly do lessons showing their faces. So there's really nothing to hide. But, with them just having more, exact documentation like that, they can spin that in so many other different directions. You've also got AIs and deep fakes out here. They can create videos of brothers doing and saying things they didn't do or say, have a whole narrative, and have your personal information to go right along with it to show exactly who you are.
Upload your identification. There's a breach. Well, at least they say there's a breach. And they trying to put it off on data hackers because that's what they will say, but that will be a lie. They will basically be monitoring everything that you do on these apps, on these platforms. And if you say the wrong thing, they'll silence you. Think about how China is on a point system. If you do the wrong thing, you might not even be able to spend your own money. And that shit gets deep in itself. Because you might voice your opinion on a topic on social media, and they might feel it's wrong. And this rabbit hole gets very, very deep. Think about this. YouTube is one of the biggest search engines on the planet right now. Think about what they can do if they have your actual identification, face, place, everything. See, that's going over a lot of people's heads. It's going to cause a lot of problems. Mind you, YouTube has been here forever. Why would they start asking for identification now? This is bigger than children just getting on the internet. The voice you have could cause a lot of problems once they have access to all of that information. Trust me. Or don't.
Will you need ID?
Hey, the voice you have causes a lot of problems out here, but that main problem is this voice of the men of the Lord, because as it says in Matthew 24, I believe it's 14. Yeah, Matthew 24 and 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, which the true gospel has been preached in all the world unto all nations for a witness, mainly through what? The unicorn, or the internet. And within the internet, YouTube. Hey, our apostles and elders came onto YouTube back in 2007, and see how much this truth has grown in 2025. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Hence, why you see all these end times prophecies quickly come into their fulfillment. And again, Revelation 12 verse 12, that devil is going to come down in great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
To watch YouTube.
YouTube. Yes, even in the US, starting on August 13th, 2025, if AI thinks you're under 18, you might have to provide an ID for full access. In a move that mirrors the ID verification laws that have recently taken effect in the UK and EU countries, YouTube has announced that it will use AI to determine whether a viewer is 18 or older, purportedly based upon their viewing habits. If the AI works as advertised, then adult users won't even know that it's there, purportedly. But if the algorithm gets it wrong, users will have YouTube's nanny
That's the key word, if. And we know with this devil, it's never an if, but a when the algorithm gets it wrong.
controls activated automatically, resulting in restrictions on what they can watch. Misidentified users then have the option to provide proof of their age by way of supplying a valid credit card or government-issued ID. Supporters claim this will help shield children from harmful content and fight so-called misinformation. But privacy advocates note that the duty to protect our children from online threats rests with the parents and not big business. They've labeled these plans as a Trojan horse designed to usher in social credit scoring and license for the internet schemes to limit free speech.
Now I bring you to exhibit number 2. This is on foxbusiness.com. YouTube has taken down approximately 34,000 channels marked as foreign propaganda campaigns in 2025. Reuters Institute finds YouTube outranks Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok as Americans' preferred source for news on social media. And like I just said, see how much this truth has grown since our apostles and elders came onto YouTube back in 2007. Google released its quarterly threat analysis group, TAG, you're it, bulletin on Monday, which showed that since the start of 2025, YouTube has taken down about 34,000 channels linked to Chinese, Russian, and other foreign adversaries' propaganda campaigns. And hey, as we just saw in that previous clip, for the children to make sure, it's appropriate for them to watch, you may have to give us your driver's license or some form of identification. Well, hey, with the times we're coming into, with, war with Russia and China, and just, the propaganda campaign in general, when they really start tightening the screws, they'll have to say, look, there's a bunch of foreign propaganda and actors out here, posting things online. We need to find out who they are, identify them, and take them down. Well, hey, look, since we instituted this new act to protect children, we have all these people's identifications, that are using YouTube. So if we're suspicious of them, let's just pull it up, take them down. The last 3 months saw a significant decline from the first 3 months of the year. Between April, May, and June, according to Google's Q2 Tag Bulletin, just under 11,000 YouTube channels were removed. That is a drop from about 23,000 that were removed between January, February, and March. Every quarter, we share an update on coordinated influence operation campaigns terminated on our platform as part of our transparency reporting, a YouTube spokesperson told Fox News Digital. The findings from the most recent update are in line with our expectations of this regular and ongoing work. YouTube has increasingly become a significant source of news for many Americans. Oxford's Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism indicated in its 14th annual digital news report released last month that, for the first time, social media displaced television as the top way people consume their news. Per the report, which surveyed nearly 100,000 people across 48 countries, 54% said they had utilized social media and video networks as a source of news in the past week. American users' preference for social media over television news sat at 55% in 2021, but today is at 72%, according to the report. When looking at YouTube and Americans specifically, its prevalence as a source of news outranks Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok, The report also indicates a Fox News digital analysis of both Google's Q1 and Q2 tag bulletins for 2025 found that Russia and China were among the most frequent origin of these foreign influence campaigns. In some cases, the campaigns were linked to Russia, but shared content in a range of different languages such as Ukrainian, Polish, Romanian, French, English, and Farsi. And remember what that Jake said in that first clip. If there is a breach and people's identities are leaked, they would just blame it on what? Data hackers and stuff like that. And more than likely they'd say what? They're foreign actors looking to harm the American people. But oh wait, we see that they've got origins within America. Oh wait, they're linked to these channels that are talking about the downfall of America, civil unrest, martial law. They speak of racism and inequality, etc., etc. Meanwhile, while less common, YouTube also terminated channels linked to influence campaigns originating from countries like Iran, Turkey, Azerbaijan, Ghana, and Israel. But wait, I thought Israel was a friend of ours, even though when you look into it, the Mossad runs a heavy, propaganda campaign online towards you Americans. But that's it with this article. Now I'm going to go to my last bit of information on the peoplesvoice.tv. Hillary Clinton lets mask slip. If we don't censor speech, we lose total control. Twice failed presidential candidate Hillary Clinton made a revealing statement during a fiery CNN interview on Sunday, issuing a direct call for censorship and control over online speech. In a stunning moment, Clinton pushed for the repeal of Section 230 and warned that without tighter regulation of online platforms, we lose total control. We should be, in my view, repealing something called Section 230, which gave platforms on the internet immunity because they were thought to just pass throughs that should not be held responsible for the content posted, said Hillary. So pretty much she's calling for the repeal of an act that would, shield online platforms like YouTube from incidences that would happen from the content posted on there. Pretty much it's saying, look, it's not the platform's, fault that this happened. It's, the people that posted the content. But we know that was an overly simple view, that if the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter/X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lost total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm. And here's the clip right here from the Post Millennials X page. Again, fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do we stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
We should be, in my view, repealing something called Section 230, which gave, platforms on the internet immunity because they were thought to be just pass-throughs, that they shouldn't be judged for the content that is posted. But we now know that that was an overly simple view, that if the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm.
Now think about it like this. More incidences happen out here where people that were influenced by online platforms go out and cause acts of violence. And, there'd be a lot of blame being put on these platforms for not censoring the content or moderating it. But what could be an avenue they could take? Look, we're just overwhelmed by just all these people posting information on here. we would have to really go on a censorship campaign. And then on top of that, look, one way we can help you is since we instituted this act that requires people to post their driver's license or some form of identification to use our platforms. Look, we have the information right here to show you the identity of the people that posted this content that caused these acts of violence. Go after them. We'll more than happily hand that information over to you. The statement is one of Clinton's clearest admissions, yet that unfiltered online discourse poses a threat not to the public safety, but to the institutional power. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Hence, the devil is going to come down in great wrath because he knows that he hath but a short time. This word is exposing him. Rather than defending the First Amendment, Clinton openly called for tech companies and media outlets to rally behind the Democrat-aligned narrative, which Republican, Democrat, they're both wings on that same bird, this U.S. government, which, these elites have bought and paid for it. Suggesting that the failure to monitor and moderate content online leads to dangerous consequences, not just socially, but politically. Critics have called the remarks chilling, suggesting that Clinton is more concerned about controlling information than protecting democracy. Her call to repeal Section 230 would give government and major corporations sweeping power to dictate what Americans can say or even think online. Hillary's comments make one thing clear. In her view, freedom of speech is a threat to control, and the free flow of information is absolutely terrifying to the elites. But the only thing that's truly terrifying is the words of the men of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, out on the highways and byways preaching this word, and damn sure putting up these video epistles online. So, what all these things are ultimately leading towards is the famine of the word. This is Amos chapter 8. I'm going to read verses 11 to 3. Behold, the days come, and as we can see, they're quickly coming, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, though food and water shortages are coming as well, but of hearing the words of Yahweh, the famine of the word, where the men of the Lord are no longer going to be on the highways and byways, and these video epistles are no longer going to be online. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. Looking for the words of the Lord in that day and his men, but, for the majority of you not finding it, hey, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is going to have to guide you directly to a man of the Lord, and even then put the Spirit on him to deal with you in those times. Verse 13, in that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst spiritually, because all hell's going to be breaking loose during Jacob's trouble, and you won't have the answers on how to navigate through it, so you're going to have to take all that judgment coming your way. And as it says in 2 Ezra chapter 9, and then shall they know it, after death by pain. But now I'm going to close it out in Isaiah chapter 29. I'm going to start at verse 18. And in that day, the last days, the last seconds of the last days, which we're currently living in, shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. The elect of the nation of Israel, hearing the words of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai through his prophets, and their spiritual eyes and ears being open to the truth. And as Yahweh Shai said, the truth shall set you free from the obscurity and darkness of this world that Esau Edom has set up. The meek also shall increase their joy in Yahweh, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel, because our people, the elect of our people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, hey, you've woken up to the fact that you are the children of Israel, and that this lowest state that we're in is going to come to an end, and we're going to be on top, ruling over the very same people that ruled over us. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, which is happening right now spiritually with the men of the Lord exposing this devil and all his secrets. And then it's going to come physically when Yahushua makes his second coming to save his elect and make war against Esau. Verse 21, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. And with all that information we went into, those are just examples of these snares and traps to make a man of the Lord an offender for a word, to get him out of the way. But that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere, Akim, and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.